not at 100%, not at 100%, but it's a very large percentage of your best years, okay, of your best income years. The poster child is the military. You can graduate high school at 18, join at age 19, have a full-fledged pension 20 years later, and you're not even 40 years old. And are you going to golf and fish the rest of the time? Maybe, probably not. But you're going to take that income from the federal government, thank you, U.S. taxpayers, and you're going to supplement your income with some other job, maybe something that you learned, a trade or skill in the military. 20 years, full pension. Government, mayors, presidents, school teachers, principals, who else? People working in the parks. Government employees, they get paid less, typically, compared to private industry. Remember, only 16%, maybe I didn't cover it in this class, maybe my marketing, 84% of Americans work in the private sector. Okay, they work for a company, big or small. 16%, 16% work for Fortune 500. 15% of Americans work for the government, either city, county, state, or federal. That's from the president and the FBI and the CIA on down to the school teacher in your town. Okay, 15%. They're all on a pension, okay? That's one of the pluses of working for a public sector, for the government. After X years, based upon your salary, okay, everybody's different, they reward you for doing important things within the government. They'll pay you till the rest of your life. And if you check the box and prove that you're married, they'll pay not only you, but your spouse until you're both dead. Not the full amount. It's a reduced amount because they know two people, actuarial tables, are going to live longer than one person. Somebody's living to age 90. Blue chip companies from the past. IBM has a pension. General Motors does. J&J, Citicorp, Pfizer. Oh, I have an asterisk next to Pfizer. I'll tell you why. I never worked for Pfizer. I worked for a company for 21 years, and Pfizer took us out. When they buy your company, they also buy the pension. They have to pay for the pension. I have a Pfizer pension today. Every month, money gets pushed into my bank account from Pfizer, the biggest drug company in the world. They're not going away. Okay, if anything's going to last, it's probably that one, even more so than Social Security in my mind. My son, 20 years later, worked for a small company. Pfizer gobbled them up. They like their products and their pipeline too. I think I have his picture next. There he is. This was 3 days ago in Aruba in the Caribbean, 15 miles, I think, off the coast of Venezuela. That's he and his wife, and he won an awards trip. He's in sales in Chicago. And when he joined 2 years ago, after about 3 or 4 months, I kind of just let him do his thing. I was talking to him. His name's Pete. Hey, Pete, does Pfizer, because I have a Pfizer pension, I asked, does Pfizer still have a pension? And his quote is right there, I wish, because he knew I had one. They grandfathered people in. Pfizer by law has to pay me my pension and all the other employees before and after me up to a certain time. X years ago, they decided, you know what, we don't like to pay people till they're dead who have done great things, thank you, but they haven't done anything in 1 year or 10 or 30. Now they have some modified program that sort of resembles a pension, but it's not anything close. So my son, who joined Pfizer 2 years ago, I list Pfizer here, but no, and I can't speak to these others, to be honest. I can speak to the government. I know the government still does and likely will for quite some period of time. My sister was a school employee. She has a pension. After the principal, she made the most money in the school. She made more than any teacher in that school. She's a school psychologist in Orange County, California. She took an early retirement at age 62. She had a 6-figure plus salary. She made more than 100K, but I'm using 100,000 as an example. When she retired, did she get $100,000 every year? Paid monthly? No, she gets 75 to 80% of that. I don't know the exact percentage, but she and I are pretty close, and we talk and do some things together and just update each other. Anyway, I know she's making, doesn't go to work. She makes 75 to 80K. Thank you, state of California, from a pension. Until when? Until she's gone. She's not married. So until she's gone. If she was, instead of 75K, let's say, it would be something like 65. It's not 30, but it's not 75, because if she had a partner, not a partner, a spouse, you have to prove you're married. If you're married, you and your spouse, that money lasts until the last one's gone. All right, Social Security, you know what it is. You're paying into it right now, by the way. You pay the federal government tax, you pay a state tax, you pay a Medicare tax, you're paying for your health care, by the way, long time from now, and you're paying Social Security. We all are. When do we get to draw on that? Well, it's a moving target. It used to be 65, not anymore. For you, today, it won't be this number by the time you get this age. Today it's 67. How come? The government moved it. And this was a legitimate move. This was a smart move. We don't like it, but it was still a smart move. People are living longer, and the government's running out of Social Security money. Okay, so the cookie jar's getting smaller, and people aren't dying as quickly. That's not true the last couple of years. Okay, that's not true the last couple of years, but that's the case. For me, it's not 65 and it's not 67. I was born before 1960. Anyone born after 1960, it's age 67. I was born in 1959, September, 3 months. So my retirement, as an example, is 66 years and 10 months. Okay, I'm a couple months sooner. When you hit that, they'll move it up. It won't be 67. It'll be some higher number, but today your full retirement is age 67. The average Social Security payment, just for grins, just so you know, is $1,800. Pre-tax, this is crazy. The friggin' federal government takes your money, you're 20. They're taking your money and they're saying, we're gonna have it for you when you're older. But when you get older and when you get that money, we're gonna tax you on it. So they tax you twice. 11 states tax you as well. I call them crooks, all of them. Luckily for you, if you stay in California, California, believe it or not, is not one of those 11 states. Okay, 11 states tax your Social Security as well. The highest is 4,700. That's a really high bar. They take your highest 35 years of income, and you have to average $160,000 a year, and you have to wait until age 70 when it maxes out to take it. Okay, just so you know, that's the most. Somebody's getting that, but they based the 160 on inflation. It's your best 35 years. If you don't work 35 and you only work 30, that goes down. Okay. There's all kinds of information, calculations on what that is. That's a source of income, and that's a continuous source of income. Make money while you sleep. I'll have a couple slides on this in a bit. This is, if you're in the stock market and it's doing well, you wake up the next day, you made money, you didn't do anything other than you were disciplined and invested money. If you have property and it's increasing in value, you're making money while you sleep. If you have money not in your bank because you're losing money with the low interest they're paying you, but if you've got your money in a credit union or some type of institution that pays not 0.25, that's 0.25 interest, but 20 times that, 5% interest. I drove by a bank yesterday, a credit union here in South Dakota, 5%, okay, 5%. There's something that I'll share in a moment in terms of I've got some of my money there getting 5% because I'm not convinced the stock market's going to make 5%, let alone stay even. We'll see. Most of my money's there. I'll have to weather the storm. Your parents are probably doing the same thing. Okay, inheritance. Don't bring this up at Thanksgiving. Hey, mom, dad, how much am I getting? You'll get kicked out, and you should. And you might not make the next Thanksgiving dinner. Fast story, a buddy of mine has a boat in San Diego. Sometimes he and I go on the boat, and he drives around the harbor and shows me houses and boats and friends of his, and it's a good time. We're over by Coronado. Hey, that boat there, I know that guy, he says. Nice guy, did well, good family. Well, there's one child, the black sheep of the family, it's a boy, hasn't done quite as well, had his struggles. And this guy is in his 20s, by the way, this kid calls up his dad one day. Hey, Dad, was kind of wondering if I can get my inheritance now. And the best line the dad could ever give, he gave him a short 2-answer response. What inheritance? It's like, you're a deadbeat. Get your ass in gear. Maybe there'll be something for you. The answer is no. Okay. All right. Part-time job. You're all high performers. You wouldn't be here. Okay. Maybe it doesn't feel like it, but you are. Are you going to go stop cold turkey and fish and hunt, and golf and travel? Maybe. Maybe you will. Chances are you'll do some of that or a lot of that, but you'll keep your hand in something that you know and like, or try something completely different. In other words, you probably do something part-time for social interaction, for a little spending money, for whatever else. Keep your mind active. Let's use this guy as an example. For 8 years, I've been here at UCSD. I'm a full-time lecturer with a continuing appointment. I'm considered full-time. My next bullet, you're busier than I am, and I'm okay with that. I put in 45 years, and I'm okay with that. You're busier than me. Good for you. But I like the interaction. I like the challenge. I like the engagement. I like to give back. And oh, by the way, I do like the money, and I love the benefits. I like the money, but I love the benefits. Love them. And this is crazy. You only have to be a full-time employee. I can only speak for the UC system. 5 years and you start to draw a small pension. And some of your professors that have been here 25, 30 plus years, they've got a large pension and they've earned it. Okay. It's a government-based job that offers a pension. And in the case of UC, you don't have to be around 15 years, 20 years like your parents may be doing at their particular company. Okay, let's see how we're doing real fast. You might, some of your parents, not many, started with a company out of high school or college and they're still there. They're a unicorn in today's world. There's too many companies going out of business, being acquired, having a reduction in workforce. The company's still there, but you're not, okay? There's no right way. There really isn't. And you may not even have the choice of staying with one company. If you move from company to company, either your choice or theirs, there's advantages and disadvantages. If you jump ship, you've heard that phrase. You're somewhere, you graduate from college, you get a job, it's great, it's kind of a blue chip company, looks great on your resume, but you want to go smaller, you want to go a little riskier, you're going to do a startup with you and your buddies, knock yourself out. It's free country, you can do it. The minute you leave, whoever hires you at a big or small or startup company, you have one rabbi. It's kind of a known business term. You know what a rabbi is. It's a Jewish cleric. But you only have one person in that company that knows you, likes you, trusts you, believes in you. Now, maybe on week 2, you'll have another one, okay? But not likely. It takes a while to establish yourself. Just understand, when you jump ship, it's a risky move. And you have to be understanding of what could play out. It could be the greatest move you've made and good for you and it works out. Or the person that hired you gets fired or leaves. He didn't tell you, but he's taken a job with another company. It's happened to my friend a number of times. That's why I bring this up. And then he's on his own. It doesn't mean he can't make it, but it's a different environment when you're brand new. Oftentimes when that person leaves, somebody gets brought in from the outside, and you know who they bring in? People they know and trust and have performed them in the past. So my friend, he lives in Salt Lake City right now, but he's a VP of marketing. It's happened to him a few times in San Antonio and Salt Lake and San Diego. He gets called in, John, you've been doing a great job. Unfortunately, I want to let you know, I've made a decision to go in a different direction, and this week is your last week. In other words, you're out. Okay, he didn't do anything wrong. Company was doing well. He was doing well. Somebody decided they want to bring in someone they're more comfortable with, and you can do that. If you switch careers, not companies, if you switch from one industry to another, my only suggestion is do it before you're 50. That's not a magic line, but do it while you're still malleable, trainable, coachable, flexible, have energy. Your parents are smart. They've got energy, but they don't have energy like you do, or a 30-year-old, okay? I'm not speaking to them. I'm not as trainable. I'm not as coachable. I'm not as malleable. I switched careers, companies. I switched careers after age 50. It was rough. Now, I'm not talking about UCSD. That's a whole different deal. I switched from one industry to another. I didn't realize it was going to be as difficult as it was, okay? It just is. I did okay. I didn't do great. 81, 2 people, young. One lives in Minnesota, one in South Dakota. They're both in sales. I'm one of them. I'm the guy in Minnesota. I hadn't seen my friend, South Dakota, and competitor. He and I competed against each other in the day, and we were single and staying in hotels, oftentimes at the same city, and we'd get together for dinner, all right? We had things in common. 2005, I'm on stage in San Diego launching a drug with my company, a biotech small company, and a big drug company. As it turns out, his company. He's in the audience. He sees me. He comes up with Craig, Tom, how you doing? We give each other a bro hug. What's been going on? Well, you know, Tom, here's what I've been doing. This, and that. How about you? Well, he had told me over dinner in the early 80s, Craig, my goal is to be average. I'd never heard someone say, my goal is just to be middle of the pack. That's exactly what he told me. If I don't do well, they'll fire me. Yep, you got that right, Tom, they will. If I do too well, they'll want to promote me, have me get up at meetings and talk, get in front of them and share things. I don't want to do that. I just want to work and then go fish and enjoy my life. He was a South Dakota guy. He was a rep for that whole time frame. Here's the message. Here's the punchline. You don't have to be the CEO. You don't have to be the senior VP, the VP. You can make a good living for yourself and your loved ones with the right company, the right position. Now, I'd go stir crazy being in the same job for 35 years. I couldn't do it. You probably couldn't either. But he owned his own home outright. He had a lake home in Minnesota. He put 3 kids through some really good private schools in this part of the country, and he's working on, at the time, he's probably retired now, he's working on a 30-plus year pension. As a sales rep, as a single line contributor, it can be done. Not everyone's wired, wants to, or is deemed qualified to work their way up the corporate ladder. Okay, $1 million. Let's look at $200,000 homes. Oh, well, it was 2020. So I'm going to call them $300,000 homes. Part of your net worth, part of your quality of life, part of your ability to jump into the housing market is where do you jump in from? This is in Tampa. $300,000 home, I'll call it. Was $200,000 when I saw the article. This is a Craftsman style home. Maybe we would change the color. Tampa, Florida, Omaha, Nebraska, newer home, tract home, story and a half, has a basement, might be finished, all in 2,400, 2,700 square feet, 300,000. 3 miles down the road, the interstate, Kansas City, a little bigger, pretty similar, tract home, nice home, newer home. Hey, let's go out west. Oh, Laguna Beach, you know that, Orange County, it's a little older and a little smaller, I gotta admit. Oh, and it's not 300, it's 1.7, I got this off of Zillow. Built when Franklin Roosevelt was president, before the Great Depression, the same size as your apartment with you and a roommate. There you have it. One more, because this one's crazy. 2.4 million, Newport Beach. Easter egg pastels, not even a white picket fence. They didn't even paint the fence they got at Home Depot. They've got a brick paver to nowhere. Maybe they spent money in their backyard. Well, they got a new deck, but it's enough for you and one friend. 2.4 million. You understand that, but when you see it smacking you in the face, now whoever buys this house is going to level it and build something mega mansion. They can fit it in that property. Okay, let me stop. Any questions? I have one more thing to cover. What are you going to do with this? Well, if you do well on the packet, you're not going to see the light of day. I'm never going to see you at least this quarter again. Maybe I'll see you on campus next year if you're back. If you do take the final, if you're here, and you are, pretty good showing. And actually, no, two-thirds, 65 people are here out of 95. Whatever I ask, you'll get correct. It won't be a written question. It'll be multiple choice or true, false, and it'll be intuitive. If you're tracking along with what I'm saying, you'll be fine. My goal is hip pocket. You don't have to agree, you don't have to do or believe, but it's something to stimulate a little bit of your thought process. Okay, I'm going to move to the next one. This is the last one. This is one that you'll say, well, okay, all right, well, whatever. That's a long time from now. Generational financial independence. That's basically don't run out of money. And if you do it right and you are wired this way, you lay the foundation for the next man or woman up, your kids. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have kids. You probably will. You don't know if you're doing it right now. You probably will. And you want a better environment and situation for them than yourself. Every parent does, or almost every parent does. Some take the baton and have a great life and continue the legacy of your family name. Okay, maybe your parents are doing that with you right now. Some choose not to, or more likely can't. They have a life, they pay their bills, they don't run out of money, they've had a good life, but they don't have much to pass down. All right, there's just not much left. That happens, especially in today's healthcare and long-term care costs. If the legacy is not being built, the foundation is not being passed down. My wife said this to me. You know what? She said this to me not long ago. She said, well, my family didn't have enough to do that. And I said, well, that's why we're here. That's what we're doing. You be the generation to get it started. Okay? Meaning you, not her. I said that to her. We're the generation that can start it then for your family. And it's our family. Okay. Couple more slides. I didn't make this slide presentation for you. I made this slide presentation for my wife's and my two boys. They're in their 30s. They got married a year and a half ago. Similar time frame, ironically. Presented this to them and their brides. And it was just a thought process, and we presented it, and we probably won't bring it up anytime soon. There's 3 ways to handle distribution. There is either is none. Sorry, we're not in debt. You don't have to pay our bills. Sorry. Or we choose to spend it. We buy the RV, we travel, we're spending our kids' inheritance, bumper stickers. Fine, that's their money. Most people, and I have no idea the percentages, but I think most people do this. They have a will or a trust, similar thing, basically saying, hey, when we're gone, who gets the money? who gets the assets. And it's a big unknown, and it's not paid out until both people or the person, if they're single, are gone. And usually there's a lawyer involved to make sure somebody isn't ripping off their brother or sister or uncle or aunt. And affixed to that lawyer is an executor. You may not know it, but you may be selected or already have been selected as the executor to your parents' estate. One child, usually it's nothing of, if they do have children, usually it's one child representing the family, carrying out their orders. The lawyer's there to make sure they don't screw you, and the money gets distributed. Yeah, it takes a while, but the money eventually gets distributed. Other people say, well, why the hell should we wait till we're dead? We have enough. Well, we feel we do. We want to start investing in the future now. And some people or couples do a transition plan. They start to roll some of it out. They're not going to run out of money. At least that's their plan. They're not taking risks, put themselves in that position, but they're saying, well, we have money. We've worked 40 plus years. We've been blessed. You're working. You got your head on straight. You're not a deadbeat. Hey, we'd like to help you. Down payment on a home, education for their kids' college, all kinds of things. Your parents might be going through this. I'm not going to talk about me. I'm not going to talk numbers at all. I'm going to talk about somebody in my family that got it rolling. Maybe you have a similar generation above you that did this. If not, why don't you be the person? Or at least have that in your head. It's this person, my grandma, on my mom's side. That's my grandfather. That's my mother, the small baby. That's my grandmother. That's taken in the 30s when my mom was born. You'll see, I'll give you one example. There's my wife and I. There's our two boys and their spouses. My grandfather there was an orange rancher in Anaheim. He grew oranges, sold oranges. The most he ever made was $5,000 a year. Well, in that time frame, he was able to provide for a family, but he was not, quote, wealthy. He had some land, and eventually it whittled down to 5 acres, which is not a lot. And he'd work the 5 acres, and he'd go smoke his cigars in the 5 acres when he was retired. He died. And my mom's brother, my uncle, went to his mother, the woman pictured there in her younger days, and said, hey, Mom, you don't like paying taxes, do you? No, I don't like paying taxes. No one does. I know I don't like paying taxes. Well, we've sold the 5 acres. This is just a replica, Orange Grove. My uncle was a CFO for Carl's Jr., Chief Financial Officer. He said, what if we become a franchise? What if I go to my boss, Carl Karcher, and say, we'd like to buy franchise. With the proceeds from the Orange Grove, we'll pay less, dramatically less taxes. She says, I'm in on one condition, as long as your sister, my daughter, in this case, my mother, can have skin in the game. And so that played out. The bulk of this, it's not this one, but it's an old Carl's Jr. in Laguna Hills. It's actually a very profitable Carl's Jr. in South Orange County. The Orange Grove proceeds were most of it. It's about $100,000 total. My mom borrowed some money. My uncle scraped together some money. Each of them put in maybe $15,000, $20,000 at the most. The Orange Grove proceeds were most of it, and they were partners. And since 1976, it's been producing income every month. And the ownership of the land, about 3 acres of prime land in Orange County, Laguna Hills, is owned by my family, not Carl's Jr. They pay us money to sell their hamburgers on this lot. She started that continuous income stream that has gone for 50 plus years and will continue in all likelihood. Okay, nest egg. I won't go through it. There's no numbers, but there's that Carl's Jr. site. They also purchased a condo that's been in the family. Whatever nest egg I've got. Okay, good. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this faucet. Okay. This is me being transparent. This is not look at me. If you put in the class evaluations. Oh, he talked about his money. Oh, he talked about his risk. No, I'm not. Your parents probably have more money than me. I hope they do. I could care less. But I ain't going to run out of money. And that's my message. Your plan is, what are you going to do for a continuous income stream in addition to your primary earnings, your primary career? Pfizer pays me every month till I'm dead and my wife's dead. My wife worked at UC Irvine. She has a small pension through them. I will have a small pension eventually through UCSD. My siblings and I get money every month. Not dramatic, but it all adds up from Carl's Jr. I bought my siblings out of this Newport Beach property to the tune of a lot of money. But I bought them out. They have the money. They didn't want to monkey with it. And I'm a partner with my uncle who's still alive. That's a continuous income stream. Eventually, as long as the government doesn't run out, there'll be Social Security. And I took some of my money out of stocks and bonds and all that stuff that I think is going to just tread water, to be honest, in today's environment. And I'm getting 5% on that. Okay, 5% is better than nothing or losing. I don't know what yours will look like. It'll be dramatically different. I hope it's better. But be thinking about what's your wealth and nest egg, and be thinking about how can you have money keep coming in so you can do things for yourself and other people at that stage. All right, there they are. This guy, Galloway, talked about him in a prior class. Older people, what they tell themselves when they were younger: quit being so hard on yourself. Okay? Quit measuring yourself to this person that doesn't exist. You take the smartest person here, the best looking person there, best job, best house, best car, best family, and that person does not exist. And you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. Why are you doing that to yourself? That's what Galloway says. All right, forgive yourself, get on. It's a bit of support in life. Make something happen. Pull the trigger when you're ready. Don't sit in a rocking chair. Do one uncomfortable thing a day. You won't. I don't. But address issues, problems, people head on. Not to get in a fight, but to resolve disagreement, conflict, move the thing forward. You won't do it, but try. Okay, that's a reminder. We're over and out. I don't know what time it is. I can't tell. Oh, we're not bad. An hour. Hey, good luck on the packet. I won't be there, but I'm available. I've got it teed up through Julietta and others. We'll make some decisions. That following Monday, you'll decide what you want to do based upon what's best for you. I have continual office hours by appointment. You can email me if you have any questions. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining in.